Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks. Are you serious? I think I'll be joined by my co-host, Matt New Yorker, here in a little bit. I'm not sure. I have not heard from him. Maybe I got a text from him right now. I don't know. No, I do not. I'm not sure what's up with the Mad New Yorker, so we'll see in a little bit whether he'll be here. Want to welcome everybody who's watching us today on TGI Sports Talk, obviously, on whether it's Facebook or YouTube. Everybody's watching us on Northeast Streaming Sports, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Roku. We're live on Roku at 9 o'clock on whatever day this is, Friday. And Let's Talk Sports. We're on their YouTube channel, and we'll share it to the Facebook page later on. We finally got the problem straightened out. Thank you, Tanner Dawson, by the way. Not to send him a thank you for that, but thank you for that. We got straightened out. Our show hadn't been getting to LTS for a little bit. Also, a shout out to Ralph Williams and RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff over there at RW Media, including the Sports Corner, which he does with Smoke and Jim Frazier from 5:30 to 6, I believe. 5:30 anyway on Tuesdays on WBVP, 12:30 a.m. and 99.3 a.m. So watch Ralph's stuff. Really good stuff. All right. Well, we're back. Sorry about that. I kind of took myself right. Every week or every day he posts the lineup. There's a lot of good shows, joining, and Let's Talk Sports also has a ton of really, really good shows. So check them all out, if you will. I started to say thumbs up, DDH thumbs up, as we know. The guys who know me know what that's about. We'll get in today a couple of topics, and if you've got some topics you want to bring up, please do so. Good morning, Dave Guyette. Good to have you with us. Let's see, CA's with us. I'll bring the Mad New Yorker in here in a second. I see he's made it into the studio. Good day, CA. Want to get into, we'll talk a little bit about the college football poll. Whether we think, I've got some thoughts on where we're at and who actually still has a chance. And I'll get into a couple of numbers and see what the Mad New Yorker has to say there. We'll talk about the quarterback situation in the NFL. I've never seen it so bad. Never. Half the teams in the NFL have quarterback problems, at least this year, if not going forward. And we'll get into those specifically. And we'll talk maybe a little bit about the Mets. The managers round, what's the word I want? Carousel, the manager carousel in Major League Baseball. And the Craig Counsell saga, I have a couple of problems with that. I don't know if he played the Mets or not, but I have a problem with a guy who takes a job that's already been filled or has somebody there and has not been fired or let go and doesn't know that until they hire a new guy. So anyway, we'll get into some of those topics and some other things as well, potentially. With that, I'll say good morning to the Mad New Yorker, Carlos Chavez. Good morning, Carlos.
Good morning, Keith. How you doing?
Morning, I'm doing well.
You sound better, man. That's good.
We're getting there. I still have stuffed up ears, a little bit of vertigo. My voice comes and goes, but we're getting better every day, I think. So
you got to take off the headphones and the glasses.
Well, then we wouldn't have a show because I can't see or hear in that case. So we'd have a really hard time of it. So anyway, hope you had a good week.
It's been busy. It's been real busy. So,
well, I'm going to get into this. That's one of the things we're going to get into that. I had that scenario all laid out, CA, so we'll certainly get into that. And good morning to Northeast Streaming Sports. We'll try to keep Carlos straight. As I said at the top, guys, check out Northeast Streaming Sports Roku channel. Get that downloaded. Lots. I mean, there are new shows joining every day. He's doing a great job getting a good content, a lot of content, pretty much on a daily basis. And we're lucky enough to have our shows there as well. So make sure you get that downloaded that app downloaded. It's free for the moment. Get in while it's free. Anyway, to speak to, let me bring up my. How did I get down here? Because I got knocked out. Now I'm out of rotation here. Let me find our banner here. I want to get into college football. I want to talk about the college football. That's the wrong one. Here we go. All right. So I want to talk about the college football committee, how they've done on their rankings so far. Again, some of the early ones don't matter. It doesn't matter whether Georgia's won or Ohio State's won. It does matter where some of the other teams are ranked. Now, I believe, let's see, did we switch spots this week? Let me pull this up. Did Georgia and I don't remember now whether they switched places or not. Let me get my mouse to, what the hell? I'm having all kinds of problems here today. All right. Anyway, Ohio State did stay at number 1. Georgia's number 2. Michigan 3. Florida State 4. Washington 5. Oregon 6. A lot of people think Oregon ought to be 6 instead of 5. Look at that situation is going to play out because they're likely going to play in the Pac-12 championship game. Texas and Alabama next at 7 and 8. Also a neat situation. Ole Miss with no chance to get to the playoff because of having lost to Alabama. And you've got, and after that, you got Penn State, Louisville, Oregon State. Then we're getting the teams that aren't going to have a shot. Right now, there's 3 undefeateds. You've got 8 teams that have 1 loss or could finish with 1 loss. I think all the 2-loss teams are out. but excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. Every once in a while we get that. We got an interesting situation here developing. Well, first of all, Carlos, just rankings right now. I mean, I don't have any major issues with the way the rankings are because I think any potential question you might have, I think will play itself out through the rest of the regular season and the conference championship games. So I don't have a problem with where we are right now. But there's some interesting scenarios. If Ohio State or Michigan stays undefeated, and a lot of that will depend on Michigan's game with Penn State this week. Mm-hmm. If Florida State and Washington both stay undefeated, you got 3 undefeated teams. They're going to make the playoff. Again, then let's say Texas wins the Big 12. They got 1 loss. Alabama wins out, beats Georgia, an undefeated Georgia team most likely, in the SEC championship game. You're going to be putting most likely a 1-loss Texas team, as CA was alluding to before, against a 1-loss Alabama team, and that 1 loss for Alabama is Texas. I can't put Alabama over Texas, but I've heard a lot of talk that the committee would put Alabama in before Texas, and I don't see how you can do that when you lost to the team that you're leaving out.
Yeah, and so that would happen because of the amount of respect and the trajectory of Alabama and what they've done in the past few years, and they know that they'll get a better football game from Alabama than a Texas game. That's just reality. You might not want to put them there. You might not want to put Alabama under Texas, but Texas is leaving the Big 12 for a reason. It's to be in the SEC. SEC football is what it's about. It has tons of money, it has tons of support, and that's the reality. It's about business more than it is about competition. So,
and Texas has one of the best wins of the teams we just talked about this year, and it's over the team they would be directly competing against for that 4th spot. And I don't see how. I understand what you're saying. Alabama has had more success recently than Texas. Texas still is a pretty good brand, but
the brand is good.
Lost.
Yeah, they lost, but if you look at in the past and you look at championship games and playoff games, Texas, if it wasn't for the time that they had Young, other than that, they don't bode well too well in the championship in playoff and championship games. It's just not good football to watch.
They haven't had many opportunities in the last 30 years either. They have never been in a college football playoff or even sniffed it. since it's been 4 teams. They haven't even had a sniff. This team hasn't had a chance at a national championship since 2008.
Yeah, so you already know. So business-wise and TV-wise and contractual-wise and SEC-wise, do you know what you're going to get as far as the competition-wise on TV? You know, and it's an easier sell to, and for people who are, you know, managing media, it's easy to put Alabama in there than it and get a better sell than it is to put Texas in there. And that's the reason why Texas is jumping ship. That's the reason why.
And that premise isn't necessarily wrong, but what I will say is it's wrong to take that approach. The better team should get the opportunity. And if both those teams finish with 1 loss, Alabama's been getting better and better. I get it. They're playing really good football. I'm not discrediting Alabama, but the one blemish on their record would be to Texas. And I just can't leave Texas out in that situation. It's not like again, this isn't TCU against Alabama with 1 loss. This is Texas.
What if Texas loses in their championship game?
They're done. They're out. They get 2 losses, they're out. There's no doubt in my mind. No 2-loss teams getting in this year. Because there's going to be too many 1-loss teams.
Do you think Texas can finish out the season and win out and be in that playoffs position?
Yeah, I don't see any. Well, they'll have a tough matchup in the Big 12 championship game. Right now, they'd be playing Oklahoma State, who's playing some great football. But they're not going to lose. They're going to play TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech to finish out their regular season. They're not losing any of those games.
If they don't lose, but they get beat up in those games, and then they have to play Oklahoma State, does Texas win that game? Do they have enough depth? Do they have enough depth to pull a win over Oklahoma State?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oklahoma State could beat this team. Oklahoma State's playing really good football right now. They had a tough start under Mike Gundy, but they're another team getting better as the season goes on. But again, if they lose, they're out. I get it, right? No 2-loss team is going to get in because there's going to be potentially 3 undefeated teams. Maybe there could be 4. There could be 4 if the undefeated teams all win out. But that wasn't the question. Is based on if Texas does win out. That's my premise.
I don't feel like Texas can win out and stay healthy and competitive to win their own championship game. That's coming from me. Like that's my own personal opinion. Like I don't feel like Texas this year is that deep. They've just been playing very well. So.
Well, I'm not forgetting about Georgia definitely either. I mean, I still think at this moment, Georgia will win their 3rd championship in a row. But it is entirely possible Alabama could go to the SEC championship game and beat them. Yes. It's very possible. Georgia, listen, both the teams have gotten better. Rick brings up that his Bulldogs have gotten better all year long. So has Bama since the South Florida game. They have gotten better, and Milroe's gotten better. Just like Beck has gotten better, and the Georgia defense has gotten better. So these 2 teams it's going to be a dogfight in that SEC championship game in my mind. And again, back to my original question, I get it. It's going to be very hard for the powers that be to say to the TV people, we're not putting an SEC team in the 14 playoff. It'd be very, very hard to sell. The only team they could probably sell it is Texas, but again, I'd have a problem. You got the same kind of problem with Oregon and Washington, but that one will sort itself out. That one's going to sort itself out. There's a lot of people believe Oregon should be ranked above Washington. Again, at this point, it doesn't matter because they will probably play each other again. And if they don't, it won't matter anyway because whichever team faltered would not be in consideration. But
the problem is that also the Pac-12 is that they're just starting to show the true colors now. Now that the creme is rising to the top, right? Creme de la creme, the cream is rising to the top. So, listen, I mean, there's a bias. There's always been a bias of the West Coast teams, and it's apparent
against them.
Yeah. And it's apparent, and it's going to weasel its way through in this year's competition because of Oregon and Washington. And
if Washington stays undefeated, the prejudice will not keep Washington out of the playoff. You will not be able to keep them out of the undefeated, beating Oregon. they're not going to be able to be kept out if they remain undefeated. But they've had their struggles the last month since they played Oregon too. So,
right,
and they got against Utah at home this week.
And that's where you see how good these teams are and how much depth they have, and whether are they going to put a Pac-12 team that has. If Oregon loses one or two players, that's it. They're not going to be that high octane offense, and that's what these TV guys and moguls and the NCAA is scared for. It's like they don't want to put on a playoff or a championship game that's going to lose ratings. They want to make sure that they get ratings because that's more money in the pocket.
And to take this a step further to next year, when it's not going to be 8 teams. CA, it'll be 12. I know when we talk on the college football show, John DeLon, our resident SEC elitist, thinks it's a participation trophy tournament. I don't think so. He keeps telling me.
Bob would agree with you.
He keeps telling me that 2 lost teams are going to be proliferation. A proliferation of 2 lost teams will be in this 12-team playoff. That's not true. This year they're probably nothing but 1 loss teams at worst in this playoff. And I think it would be an excellent thing because you'd see a Tulane get a chance to play. Louisville with 1 loss and probably going to have 2 once they lose to Florida State in the ACC championship game. But
they clinch already. Last night's game, they clinch the tournament. So they have to either play Duke or who else do they have to play? Duke or somebody else, depending on who wins that game.
Well, Florida State's undefeated. They're playing in the ACC championship game. So if Louisville's clinched a spot, it's the second spot, not the first one.
Right.
There's only 2 teams in there. Listen, Louisville could win that. But the problem with Louisville, here's the problem. If Louisville beats Florida State in the ACC championship game, the ACC is not getting a bid because Louisville's not getting in with 1 loss because their 1 loss was to Pittsburgh. A bad football team.
I know, that's what the whole thing, though, that the Louisville Cardinals are averaging 24 points every game plus.
But they have that 1 bad loss on their resume.
And the same thing, Alabama, though. Alabama has that.
But that loss is to Texas. So, I mean, it's different losing to Pittsburgh, who's, ranked 150, than losing to Texas, who's ranked 7th. I mean, that's a big difference.
But again, their rankings are taking into consider the conference that they're in, and their conference is not that strong. Texas, the Big 12. The Big 12 is not a strong conference, man. Can we say that? Can we just say the Big 12 is not a strong conference? It's a good conference, but it's not strong.
It's good at the top. It's very good at the top.
All the conferences are good at the top.
Well, I would say
with the Pac-12.
Overall, the Pac-12 is a better conference than the ACC this year. So again,
we agree that the Pac-12 is better than the Big 12 this year? Can we agree on that?
Yes, I've said that all along. The Pac-12 may have been the best conference in the country.
Yeah.
The deepest. And that's what they're beating each other up.
So if you see they've been playing better and they're rated high, why not just put Washington in that situation instead of debating whether you should put Texas and Alabama and all that? Just put Washington there.
Yeah, listen, CA's got a great point about it's sad the Pac-12, to kind of go along what we just talked about, is having one of their best seasons in recent memory, and it's going to be no more once this season's over. So it'd be interesting. Washington win on their way out, or Oregon, even Oregon's still alive. So
I remember I kept saying last year and even the year before, what's going on in Washington? Why are they not picking this up? They're usually like a good team. They usually get good recruits. They pick up recruits that leave from Stanford and from UCLA and USC. Like, why is this team not getting better? And look at this year and what's happened, right? So
they're 9-0. You are what your record says you are. They're 9-0.
Yeah. So I mean,
good.
I just wished on the other part of the country, Georgia Tech would come up and get a better as fast as Washington did, because it's the competition that you want to see. Not that I think Georgia Tech's going to go into a bowl, like a championship bowl opportunity, but I just want to see that competition. Like, that's why the SEC is
when there's a 12 team. when there's a 12-team playoff, Georgia Tech, they're improving. That program's improved this year over where they've been the last few. So, an ACC champion is almost always going to be in that 12-team playoff. Oh, well, they will be because the Power 5 conferences are going to have an automatic bid, plus the best conference winner afterwards, which this year would be Tulane. And by the way, Tulane's ranked down in the 20s. They got one loss, and it was to Ole Miss, who's ranked number 9. They lost without their starting quarterback.
Keith, do you think that with these super conferences next season, there's going to be a conference championship? I don't think so. I think they're going to try to bypass that, just to give the teams on the top an easier situation to get into a playoff. They're never
gonna be able to get away with not putting in the best of the group of 5 teams in that playoff. Never gonna get away.
You just pretty much you're just gonna qualify with your record, with your winning record.
Again, not to get myself sued. This is why we need a 16-team playoff, not an 18, not a 12.
It's Bob's coming for you.
16 teams, all the conference champions get in, and 5 at-larges. And that would be the best way to run this tournament. All the best teams would be there. All the best teams would be there. And all the conference champions. And that's not a participation trophy tournament. All of them are champions, except for 5 wild cards or 5 at-larges, which theoretically are going to be the Georgias, the Penn States, the Oregon, whoever loses Ohio State and Michigan, for instance, whoever loses Georgia and Alabama, whoever loses Oregon and Washington. That's not just putting in teams that are just participating this year. These are really good football teams.
The problem with that, Keith, is that you still have the A10. You still have those other conferences that are mid-major schools.
Well, they don't have a conference football. A10, but I know who you're talking about. Yes,
but
USA. Yes.
Yeah.
Again, give them a shot.
Yeah, I'm not saying not to, but then you can't put in the loser of the championship game from the Power 5.
Sure I can, because if I got 11 spots, I got 5 at-larges. If I take 5 of the other best teams, that's all I need. I don't need 10 of the best other teams. I need the best 5, and then you're going to get the loser of the SEC championship, the loser of the Big Ten championship. The teams that are really good, that deserve a shot.
What conference is that Cincinnati is in? American Conference?
Cincinnati's now in the Big 12. They were in the American.
Okay, so they moved, and now so
which is not a bad football conference.
Who would be the championship from the American Conference?
Right now, Tulane, SMU, and Texas San Antonio are all 5-0, vying to play in that championship game. Tulane, one loss to Mississippi, the number 9 team in the country.
Right. So if Tulane wins the championship, you can't put the loser into the playoff.
No, I'm not saying that. No, not that loser. The 5 best teams outside of the conference champions.
Anybody would argue for the mid-major conference. Why not our number 2 be in that mix? Everybody wants to be in the mix.
You need to win the championship in your conference to be included in this tournament.
So then why does the Power 5 team, the big conference, get?
It'll always be the Power 5. The at-larges would always be Power 5 conferences, and that's okay. They're the next best 5 teams. It's a pretty simple concept, and now I'm getting myself.
But it's not fair if you look at it across the board in the NCAA, which is what they're trying to.
Good morning. I got to bring this up, Alex Simpson. Good morning, Alex from
Alex. I agree with you. Allegations should be in every sport.
I left this up there just for you, Carlos, because Carlos, who's a big soccer fan, and obviously Alec is over there in the UK. They love this promotion and relegation thing. Maybe because I don't understand it enough, I hate it. But maybe because I don't understand it.
Maybe because you at one point had rooting for a team that was relegated in the Premier League, and now all of a sudden you're just like, I don't want to do it.
I rooted for a Patriot team. My Patriot team wasn't always really good, man. They'd be getting relegated this year, and they would have been relegated before they ever won any Super Bowls. They'd have been relegated.
Which is okay, because you don't want to see terrible football. I'm okay. Do you want to see the Bears struggle? You want to see the Packers struggle? You want to see the Patriots play? Look what happened on this Thursday night game. I wonder how much Amazon paid for that.
Now we're on to the NFL, but that's fine. Half the teams in the NFL stink. So who are you going to bring up? Where do these teams come from?
I keep telling you, Keith, that the NFL needs a minor league division.
College could do it.
And if they don't have it, then they should merge with the Canadian League and use this the other football team and make that a second division.
We're going to merge with a conference or a league that doesn't even play by the same rules or the same size field or anything.
But they play football, and when you get regulated or when you move on to the NFL, you have to play by the NFL rules.
I think it would work better in college because, to Alex's point, you've got lower divisions where teams could come up. Like, again, you got James Madison, who's getting royally screwed here this year, by the way, 9-0, and they can't even play in their conference championship game because of a stupid NCAA rule that you have to wait 2 years after promotion, if you will. With that rule, it'd have to go away in this plan.
The same thing in basketball to that Belmere or whatever school that got moved up.
Yeah, there's zero reason for this rule. Zero. James Madison's actually petitioned the NCAA to do away with this rule because they'd be in play, by the way, for a New Year's Day bowl game. They'd have the highest ranked group of 5 gets a New Year's Day bowl game at the Cotton Bowl, but I believe, and they'd be in play for it along with Tulane and Texas San Antonio and some other teams. Well, Texas San Antonio.
And here's the thing, and NCAA needs to be recognized what it takes to be in that kind of position for any kind of school that's not a Power 5 school, right? They should get a bowl game, and if anything, they should play the third place team of a Power 5 conference.
Yeah,
just because what's gonna matter. I mean, you're playing some of these bowl games with some of these teams. There's like 78 bowl games or something, and like some of these.
But you saw that last year. The group of 5 winner, Tulane, got to play USC in the Cotton Bowl, and they beat them.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, but they should be able to add a team like JMU to the bowl game situation because you want to see those teams who are playing good on TV, and you don't want to see those teams that are barely making it. Come on. In fact, how about this? Deion Sanders and Colorado versus JMU. I'd watch that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I listen, in college football, I'm a stories guy. I like to root for a good story. James Madison is a great story. They had a great year last year, their first year in FBS 1, and they're having a great year this year, and they should be rewarded for that. So let me get through some of these comments here before we have to move on. Thank you. Then you get a team like Cincinnati that will be babied in the playoffs. What do you mean they'll be babied? They get killed.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's Rick makes a valid point. But again, man, money begets all this competition and real football.
Doesn't CU belie that? I mean, again, to CA's point, Big 12 is a basketball conference. Well, there'll be more of a basketball conference after Texas and Oklahoma leave. That's for sure. I don't disagree. But I don't have my problem with this. With Rick's comment here is I don't have a problem with Cinderella getting a chance. Cinderella doesn't always get the glass slipper though. Sometimes they get their behind kicked. That's okay. At least they got a chance. I still want to see that 16-team playoff. So show me basement, Bob. Bo, watch Bo, by the way. Bo,
okay.
Your
here's a problem. Here's a problem with Thursday Night Football. Is that, and I feel bad for Prime because I'm gonna take it to a money situation. Is that they bucked up. They put the money where the mouth was. They went up to the NFL and said, "We're gonna do this, and we're gonna be the official site and for the Thursday Night Football game." And it's been horrendous. And will the NFL give money back to Amazon for that?
No.
But the NFL.
By the way, if they did, would Amazon give money back to you? No.
Well, they've let me return things without me having to pay.
You got to return Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not I'm not all in there. I'm not fighting all for them. But in retrospect, the commissioner needs to understand that he going to put himself in a bind if the quality of football does not go up or even go or stabilize itself because it's terrible right now. And it's not just Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Monday night football. Like,
look at football in general. The NFL has got more bad teams this year than I can ever remember in my life. So I don't know when this is going to get better. And Bo, give us a shout out about Bo's show precedes this one on Roku, and I want to give Bo a shout out. So Bo, give us a comment so we can give you a little shout out. Put it in the comments and we'll put it up. I agree. I don't think it'll ever work anywhere but college, Alec, but I don't think it's ever going to happen there either. The ends with the best will always be at the top 8 because the 9th has no argument except lip service. I don't listen again. If you include all the conference champions, they are champions of that conference. Good or bad, they're still a champion and they deserve a chance to play for the championship. Just like in college. I don't want, it to get proliferated like that. There's too many teams in college football or college basketball, but
yeah, Leicester City was a great story. No, but here's the thing. You wouldn't have those issues.
Talk with Bo. There we go. Football talk with Bo.
You wouldn't have those issues, Keith, like the Auburn team in the early 2000s, the University of Central Florida, those teams that should be those teams that should have had the opportunity to be in a championship game. Like, there's a few others too. That's not just those, but like, these things wouldn't be an issue, man. They don't need to be an issue.
Well, they don't.
Like it's just. It's so simple for them to do this in basketball because it is a totally different sport. But
nothing is simple for the NCAA. Nothing is simple for the NCAA. They don't want to react. By the way, there's football talk with Bo who precedes us on Roku. Watch Bo's stuff. Really good stuff. Then again, putting out some great content as a lot of the shows are, as I said on Northeast Streaming Sports. Pinstripe Bowl. Go away. Go away. Go away. Pinstripe Bowl. We don't need it. You could go and see Colorado then. I'm not going to see. That's entirely possible at Colorado. Be playing in the.
But Rick, to be honest with you, if this is a local game for you, it's local for us because we're in a regional area. It's at Yankee Stadium. I mean, I'm not saying local like 10 blocks, Keith, but you know what I'm saying. You can drive to it and have a.
I'm not paying a nickel to go to the Pinstripe Bowl. Let me tell you, not a nickel.
But what I'm saying is that if James Madison and Colorado were playing that, wouldn't it be an intriguing? If I got tickets, wouldn't it be an intriguing match? And maybe you think about it, you'd watch it on TV for sure.
James Madison ought to be in competition of playing the Cotton Bowl. Forget about the Pinstripe Bowl. They'd have a chance at the Cotton Bowl.
Because of the situation they're in, wouldn't that be an interesting matchup?
Yes, if I'd watch it on TV, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd get you tickets, and you'd be like, "No, I don't want to go there. It's cold."
Send me a limo, and I'll be down. Send me a limo.
You do one, but I'll send you a chopper.
Let's even better. Let's move on to our next topic. And it kind of plays into what we were just talking about with the NFL, and the product is bad this year. In my mind, I've never seen so many bad teams. Half the league stinks, and half the league has quarterback issues.
Yeah. And
whether they're just for this year or they're for the foreseeable future. And I'll throw a few teams I've got the teams that I've jotted down. Some are for this year, some are going forward, and then you can jump in. The Jets. Maybe it's for just this year, but a huge quarterback problem at the moment. Patriots, probably a problem now and in the future. The Steelers could be a problem now and in the future. Maybe Kenny Pickett's getting better, but they aren't winning games because of Kenny Pickett. I say the Browns have a problem with Deshaun Watson. He has not played anywhere near that contract that he's got. The Colts have a problem because I guarantee you Richardson is going to end up like the next RG3. Titans maybe have found their guy. I love Will Levis. Everybody who watches my shows know how much I loved Will Levis before the draft. Maybe they found their guy. We'll find out. Raiders a huge problem now and in the future, even because they fired a coach who said he could make a high school quarterback, Pro Bowler, but he couldn't do it with Jimmy Garoppolo apparently. The Broncos with a big problem, probably now and in the future. Can't read my writing on that. Oh, the Commanders, team formerly known as the Redskins. Maybe Sam Howell's the guy, but still not sure thing. Giants, at least this issue, they got Danny DeVito playing quarterback now. Vikings, don't know. They got a problem this year. Maybe not if Kirk Cousins comes back. Packers, Jordan Love's still hasn't assured anybody that he'll be playing better. The Bears, we still don't know about their situation. The Falcons are in disarray.
My man, you just put the whole team. Just say NFL is not.
There you go.
8 good teams. Maybe. Does the NFL have at least 10 good teams, Keith?
10 good teams? Are there 10 good teams? Let me take a look. Are there 10 good teams?
I think there may be 5.
Dolphins are good.
Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about greatness. I'm talking about good.
Well, great teams? There's no great teams in the NFL. There's not one great team. There's good teams.
Yeah.
Dolphins are good. The Ravens are good.
All right. 2.
Jaguars are good. Chiefs are very good. Better again. I stop burying the Chiefs.
I'll put the Jags on the bottom of the list, but go ahead, keep going.
The Eagles are good. I'm going to give the Lions a good for right now.
Okay.
And I think the 49ers, despite their recent troubles, are good. But that's 6 or 7 teams.
Not even
the
10.
The rest are mediocre or bad. And the NFL's brought this upon themselves. They want a parity, and what they've gotten is worse than parity. You get a bunch of bad football teams and unwatchable games in a lot of cases, like last night. To Bo's point,
Keith, we're almost at this for 2 years, and I've been saying this that for the last 3 years, the NFL's quality, the game has just been going down, and there's a lot of different things about why the NFL, it's not as much equality in it as before, and we touch upon it. We talk about the parity, and we talk about too many games during the week, not enough rest time, too many injuries. There's a lot of just
unable to hit in practice and training camp.
You can throw all the issues on the wall, and it'll stick like gum to under a table. So, but the reality is this: it's still the National Football League, and it needs to be.
Well, that was quite a mixed metaphor you threw there, by the way. You throw one against the wall and 6 at the bottom of the table. What?
No, you could just throw it against the wall, and they'll stick to it like gum underneath the table.
Oh, all right. I missed the okay.
Yeah, so all those are small issues, but they can all be dealt with somehow or another. It won't go away.
Can they? When all your big stars keep getting hurt because you don't practice, you don't let them hit training camp and practice.
Let's go back to that one because we always talk about that one. One of the things that I don't like is the referees having too much pull in the game. Like, especially when there's on the cameras recording it and you do a replay and you see that the call is not the correct call. So, that's easily fixable because it's something that you can do. If it's on the screen, it doesn't look like it's a good call, then it's not, then fix it.
How long do you want these games to be, though? You want these games to be 5 hours long?
It's not long because they do it already. They replay it. They can throw the flag. They replay it on the TV.
But you're talking about replaying penalties now.
Look, at the end of the day, they're showing you on TV and they're showing the fan on television. They're showing the fan at the game. They're putting this stuff and they're seeing that the call is wrong. So you're not even getting fairness on the actual field because it's blatant everywhere, but the referee make a wrong call.
Well, what if I argue if you had better players, you wouldn't have so many blown calls by the referees because there wouldn't be.
There's a lot of stuff like that can be fixed by better coaching and more practice with guys on. But there's injuries and all those.
You almost said it. More practice with what? Pads and hit people.
Well, just even with these guys in and out of the lineup makes it tougher for everybody on the team. These injuries and but it happens. It's football, and I mean, what are you gonna do? Like I just been saying it, and people just think about I'm crazy and I'm just a talking head. But now it's coming. Now it's like more and more snowball, right?
Listen, I've argued for a long time that Saturdays are better than Sundays, and now it's like head and shoulders above Sunday because most of the games. Was there a good game on TV last Sunday at all? Was there a good game on TV last Sunday? I'd never seen such a bad
argument for this Sunday. This Sunday is not going to be. This Sunday is not. You're not going to see that many
Well, again, because there's so many bad teams, every week there's going to be a huge amount of bad games.
In fact, this Sunday, this weekend, I'm
people are going to start turning it off. People will start turning it off if games. Number one, the stars get hurt because we don't let them play. I'll agree with you a little bit to the refereeing part because, again, I think they're trying to legislate too much injury out of the game by legislating violence and violent play in football. Football is a violent game. Guys know what they sign up for. And guess what? There's a whole bunch of people who turn on that game to see big hits. And the NFL is trying to take that stuff away and legislate it out of the game. So what's the most exciting play in football to me, to you? For me, years, it was a kickoff. Because any play, you could get a kickoff return that would turn a game around. We don't get those today because guys boom them out of the end zone. They could call fair catch inside the 5. They don't want it because they think it's a dangerous play for the health of the players. Same thing on punts. You see a flag on every punt. Why bother punting anymore? There's a flag on every punt, it seems, in the NFL. So I agree with your not so much the referees, but the rules that are put into place by the league that is hindering the product and the Players Association battling for things that, while they're trying to keep their players healthy, I get it, it's having the exact opposite effect. So, again, I think the NFL is coming to a fork in the road here.
But they just extended this guy's
they're going to lose fans if they don't change the direction in this game pretty quick.
They just extended this guy's contract, too.
At O-line play, we talk about this a lot, too. Alex brings up the O-line play. One of the reasons the O-line play is so bad is there's no depth on anybody's O-line. Right. First of all, the lines aren't good, most of them. There's a handful of good ones. But even them, they don't have a lot of depth, and that's because there's – and again, I don't begrudge people getting their money. But when you're going to pay quarterbacks $50 million and $60 million a year, that money's got to come from somewhere when there's a hard salary cap, and that means you are not going to have depth or good players at certain positions. And now you're starting to see wide receivers get paid.
Running backs.
Again, that's what you end up with bad play because you got a lot of great quarterbacks that get paid a lot of money and they're getting chased around the field by
no. That right there is incorrect. There's not a lot of great quarterbacks getting paid well. There's a couple of quarterbacks that are good that are getting paid well.
A lot of quarterbacks. I said a lot of quarterbacks. If I put in great, I misspoke. There's a lot of quarterbacks getting paid a lot of money who are getting chased all over the field by really good defensive players because there's nobody to protect them. Is that what we want to watch? God, do I want to watch freaking just bad quarterbacks?
You was over here bashing me, telling I'm a bandwagon fan because I don't go to the Giants game, I don't go to the Jets games, and I'm not going to go pay for a ticket, and I might not even watch it on TV.
I don't care if you ever go to a game. That's not my point. You don't want to watch your team. That's a different story. I'm not saying you got to go spend your money.
You want to watch your team for the last 3 seasons? How's that been going for you?
I will watch every game my team plays, every play, every game. I don't jump the bandwagon.
No, I've seen.
Remember something. I'm a Patriot fan and wasn't born in 2000 or realized they had a team in New England in 2000. I lived through a lot of bad football 30 years before that. I'm old.
No, I mean, look, being a fan of New York because I was, lived in Europe, and I've never seen the Jets in a Super Bowl. And I've seen the Giants in a few Super Bowls.
Speaking of which, I mean, Zach Wilson's been bad, but he's not the whole problem for the Jets.
No.
First, so question number 1, is it feasible? I don't think it's even feasible that Rodgers comes back. He's hinting he's going to be back in 3 weeks.
If he comes back, he comes back. Wait, I don't understand what the deal is. If he comes back, he comes back. He ain't going to play like he's 100%.
Absolutely not. That's the second part of my question. Does it matter if he comes back? This team's going to be just like it is today.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. The 14 points plus for the offense.
A healthy Rodgers would have made it different.
Right? Yeah, 14. If Aaron Rodgers can't help the offense score 27 points a game, it doesn't matter. How about that?
Well, first of all, with that defense, you don't need 27 points a game.
No, stop, pause. You should always try to score the 27 points no matter whether your defense is good or not.
Back up. I'm not saying don't score 27 points. I'm just saying they don't absolutely need 27 points.
The problem is that the offensive coordinators don't think like that, Keith. That's the biggest problem. Like, oh, well, as long as Aaron Rodgers is back, yeah. How about this? You bring him back and he goes out because of a bad back. How about that? Come on, man. You got to be realistic.
Even with a Zach Wilson, this team should be average. We should be able. If you scored 14 points, you should have been able to win that game Monday night with 14 points. You don't give up the punt return, and you don't keep turning the ball over and giving San Diego a short field. That defense didn't give up any touchdowns that they had to go in for. What'd I say?
San Diego. It's okay. I say San Diego sometimes too.
San Diego, Redskins, Indians. I'm just, what are we
gonna do, Keith? It's not an age thing either. It's what we're used to watching. It's not has nothing to do with our age.
Right.
I mean, does anybody in their right mind feel that if there was a quarterback like Hurts or Allen, right?
By the way,
a quarterback like that on the Jets team, that they would win? That they'd be winning?
Maybe. Because as bad as they play, they're in the hunt. They're in the thick of the playoff hunt. As bad as they play. Because
even with Breece Hall, who's probably outplaying his contract, and Wilson, who's outplaying their contract, even with them outplaying themselves on the field, they're not scoring in the red zone. When the ball's in the red zone, they still can't score.
Too many turnovers. This team turns the ball way too much. They give short fields. It doesn't a quarterback that is like an Aaron Rodgers is not going to definitely change your game to that extent. If at the end of the day you're calling the same junk plays, he might make that junk play look good or better, but that don't mean they're going to score points. Nathaniel Hackett obviously can call plays for one guy and one guy only, and that guy's on crutches. Well, I guess he's not on crutches anymore, but. CA, to your question, I don't have a Craig James poster, but I do still have a Craig James playing card. I have many guys from that era of the Patriots, many guys. Craig James, part of the Great Pony Express, by the way, at SMU. Just to give SMU a little shout out before they got the death penalty there. Feed the ball to D. Cook. Feed the ball to D. Cook. He's averaging about 2 yards. He's like a shell of a. You would think that he could. Oh my God. I don't know. I wasn't okay with that pickup either. Oh, that was a waste of what they paid him. $3 million. I don't know, $3 million. Why didn't it? Maybe it's more. That's just a waste. They didn't need him. They got a capable backup in Michael Carter. They don't need D. Cook. I sat here and said, for the both on both teams, who's going to block for you? Well, improve your offense. Defense is good. Who's going to block? Who's going to block for the running backs that are on the New York teams? Who's going to block for these quarterbacks? Now, now talking about quarterbacks, and you made a list of all these teams. I still feel like the Jaguars they're rated too high now. Right now, I still feel like they got a little bit ways to grow up. I feel like, man, I would tell you this: if they would have had a different coach, they'd probably play better, not have better results, but they would probably play better. The results will probably be the same. I don't like the coach. Yeah, I'm talking about Jacksonville. Yeah. Oh, I say that because all he did was turn around in a huge mess in Jacksonville and make the playoffs. It was just this year and win a game. It wasn't a huge mess under Urban Meyer. That wasn't a dumpster fire there. It absolutely was a dumpster fire. He's done a great job. Doug Peterson. They added and let go what? A total of 10 players, maybe? Former Super Bowl winner. Why is Doug Peterson not a good coach? He just makes bad calls in the middle, like towards the end of the game. Like he put Lawrence in an island like 2 games ago. Knowing the game was over, you put him in an island and the guy almost gets messed up. So I get it. You got to play the game. You're the quarterback. But come on, man. You're already winning. Sit the guy out. I mean, he's got a bad knee. He's got a knee brace. I would tell you that for 20 years in New England, Tom Brady never came out of one of those games. Never.
Yeah, again, you had a better O-line, and he always had a tight end. So
No, they all had some bad offensive lines in New England in those 20 years, by the way. They didn't always have great offensive lines.
No, but
they
had
because 12 was in the backfield.
They had Belichick was always smart enough to have somebody, either a tight end that could block or a running back that can block. So Tom Brady wasn't like always gonna like feel like he was getting threatened. So
Jags versus Niners this weekend.
I don't know if that's gonna be interesting at all. Like, I'm not a firm believer in Purdy, and you know that he's got to, you know, he's gonna make his name eventually. But I think that team is gonna let him down more than he's gonna let that team down. In a sense where they're not where, and I say this all the time about the Shanahan system. Once you have one or two stars out or they're not playing well, then that team's not. They don't have depth in that sense. So
who doesn't play worse when some of their best players aren't in the lineup?
What I'm saying is ultra dependent. Like, at least with some of these other playbooks, you can put in players to come back and it could still run. It might not be the best, but he's ultra dependent on those players. Like, you know, and them doing their little things. So very intricate. It's very intricate, and not all football players on the 49ers or backups can play, play.
We're gonna do something different. We're gonna hold our baseball talk till next week, and I'm gonna talk about the managerial musical chairs on my baseball update. But you and I will get into it from the Mets standpoint next week because we're running out of time. So since Alex brings this game up, and we talked about all the bad games, let's go through the games real quick, Carlos, and say whether it's a good game or bad. We'll start answering. This is a good football game, 49ers and Jaguars. Jaguars are at home getting 3 points. I like the Jags this week against the 49ers. I know they've lost 3 in a row, and you'd think, well, they got to break that streak eventually. I see, maybe it's me. 2 weeks ago that they played, who the hell they lose to? Maybe it was last week. But I watched Purdy trying to bring his team back, and I'm watching Purdy throw the football. I don't see any zip on the football at all. And I'm a little worried about his arm. I'm worried his arm is not even close to 100%. Even the passes he's completing didn't have the kind of zip you would expect from an NFL quarterback. I like the Jaguars in this game. Getting 3 points at home. I like this a lot.
I think that the Jaguars are on the up. The only one thing is I think it's going to be more defensive battle than it is going to be up than the offense. So,
Deebo Samuel being out, as we talked about, hurt the 49ers a lot. I don't know what his status is for this week, but I think he's still out.
I think he's supposed to come back this game, actually. But even if he does come back, it's a home game for the Jags. The defense is going to be up, and the defense is a lot better than people give it credit for. So,
the first part of this comment from CA, I agree with. They care about profits only. I agree. But bad football, where's it exciting? That's not exciting to watch. To me, it's not. You might get close games, but if it's bad football, that's not exciting at all.
Being from New York, I'm telling you, there's been a lot of bad football. It's not.
Let's go through these games. We're gonna and make up. And when we go through them, tell me what when we get it to it. Say that's my best bet. Say that's my. We'll do our. Don't be surprised if. But I want to say first, good game or bad game. Colts and Patriots, awful game.
Terrible game.
Awful game. Texas and Bengals. Better than you might think. Texas and Bengals might be a good matchup. CJ Stroud has played well.
I would say upset city right now.
CJ Stroud, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. Rookie of the year right now. Playing really good.
And I believe that defense is gonna the defense from the Bengals. I don't think it's gonna be able to uphold what the Texans are doing, and I believe that the Texas defense will be able to get to Burrow because Burrow doesn't have the weapons this week. So up city, I'm calling.
Saints and Vikings. I'm not going to call this a bad game, but it's got the potential to be a bad game.
Vikings are home, right? So
no, yes they are. Yes they are.
Yeah, so I feel like that's gonna help them a little bit, and
I'm going to take the Vikings right now.
Carr's not doing what he should be doing. So
yeah. Packers and Steelers, bad game.
Terrible game, but I believe the Steelers are going to win that game.
Titans and Buccaneers, bad game.
Yeah, but the Titans, Levis is starting. I hope that he gets a couple of touchdowns. I hope that Henry can get 100 yards on this young Bucs defense. I'm not sure that he'll be able to, but if he does, that game is Titans.
Browns and Ravens. This is not a bad game, but I like the Baltimore is going to be my best bet this week, -6.5.
Yeah, 27-21. Yep.
Falcons and Cardinals, bad game. Oh God,
there's a dirty bird situation here. I look. The Falcons might actually win this one because it's Murray's first game back, and I don't know if that defense is going to be able to do what they can. And the Falcons have to win a game, and this looks like a game that they can possibly try to get on track.
Lions and Chargers, I will not call a bad game. This is interesting that the Lions are a 3-point favorite. I know the Chargers are only 500, but they've showed some signs of life recently, and
that's out in LA though, right? So
yeah,
that doesn't give them an advantage at all. But
Lions and Cowboys, bad football game. This is going to be a beatdown by the Cowboys.
Keith, I'm saying this: if the Cowboys allow the Giants to score 10 points, McCarthy should get fired.
17-point favorite, biggest spread by far this year.
It's going to be more than that. So
Cowboys over the Giants. Seahawks and Commanders. I can't call that a good football game either. I like the Seahawks. I know Bo.
The Seahawks are at home, so
yeah. I know Bo was a big Seahawks fan.
You're going to see the Commanders play a game, but I feel like the Seahawks being at home and the fact that they play better, that young crew of defense is playing better at home, I think they're going to win that game, but not by much.
Raiders and Jets Sunday night. What a bad football game for a Sunday night football. I know before the season it probably looked better, but
I have a feeling Crosby might match his sack record that he made with the Giants. So the Jets are in for a game, and the Raiders are gonna wallop. Put the
Bills and Broncos. It's not a great football game either with the way these two teams are playing, but Broncos are going to get beat up.
I want to see the Broncos succeed and play better. They're going to be playing in Buffalo, but I think the Bills will come out, and this is going to be a close game. This one might get tied, and we have to, and the Bills might have to win it.
Alex picking against his 49ers here. Take a look at in the stands how many people look like they've played football. That's a good line. Bears taking Williams with the first pick.
No, not at all. I don't believe that.
I still think they are sold on Josh Fields myself, and I don't think they're taking a quarterback.
If I'm the Bears, because they got 2 picks, all right? Because
they just do the first 3 picks, don't they?
Yeah, I would sell the first pick.
They might. They don't
have no luck picking any good players in that position.
So anyway, my best bet in the NFL is going to be the Ravens, and my super dog will be the Jaguars at home against the 49ers. Sorry, Alec. Even Alec picked them to win. So.
Yeah, my big bet. Don't be surprised if the Texans upset Cincinnati. And again, yeah, I think that the Ravens will beat Cleveland.
And real quick, I guess we got like 1 minute. So give me a college pick. Give me a college best bet this week. I'll give you mine. Michigan beats Penn State -4 on the road.
Yeah, I like Penn State, but I think Michigan will. Aside from all this ridiculous hoo-ha that's going on, I think that Michigan is going to win this game. And Penn State just, I don't know what they can do like different. Well, what can they do different? Where Michigan has enough depth, if anything happens,
they can do something to try to get the ball down the field because they have the least explosive team in the top 25. I can tell you right now, they have less plays under 20 yards than any team in the country, or I shouldn't say it. They're ranked 130 in the country out of like 130 teams for plays over 20 yards.
The offense is so benign, so slow, and it's not going to work against Michigan. And Michigan is fast on their defense. Like the back end of the defense and the front line are pretty fast too. So Penn State's going to have a battle, and I don't know what they can do to win this game.
And a dog, I'll give you a big dog. Utah keeps it close in Washington. They're getting 9.5. I think Washington will win the game, but I think
I was going to say Yeah, that would probably be one of the best games of the week.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. We are out of time, my friend. Good job. Thank you, Carlos. Thanks to everybody else that joined us today.
Happy Veterans Day, people. Thank you for your service.
Happy Veterans Day tomorrow. I found out. I thought it was today as I wish some people happy Veterans Day, so I got to pay attention to that. Anyway, we'll catch you Sunday on the Sunday Stream of Consciousness. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.